60 years of Mustang, and this is the fastback from 1965, and it's a stunner, isn't it? It really is. The Mach-E, well, when it first came out, there was a lot of division, and for this review, find out why I too am divided, because yeah, it's got great specs, good performance, very good range, but there's just a few things that makes it really hard to recommend. Let's get this review off with looks, and with the Mustang Heritage, we've got the 3 brake light things here, so tick there, but 4 doors? What's that about? So yeah, it's a mid-size SUV, 4 doors, which is very unlike Mustang. They're all about performance, they're 2-door. We've got 4 here, so explain that to me. The Mustang Mach-E has one of the few features that I've reviewed in other cars. You can find them in Teslas, by the way, and that is actually walk up, unlock. So now I can actually open the car and awesome and all. But if I now walk away, it will lock as well. So I'll just do this, I'll go over here. You can watch the car for me. But the really cool thing here though, is that this keypad. So with this, I can actually lock the car with the key inside of it. And let's say my mobile phone. Pretend for a hot second that I'm a hot surfer. Go with me. And I want to go surfing or maybe to the beach, and I don't want to leave my valuables unattended. I could lock these in the car, and then all I do to lock the car is just press and hold, press and hold these 2 numbers here, and it locks. So pretend these are inside the car, right? Or I could actually unlock it. Fantastic. That's actually a really good feature that I've seen, well, I haven't ever seen on any other car. The side mirrors on the Mach-E are actually heated and tinted, plus under here is a little projector for your puddle lights. So you get the pony on the floor just to let people know what you're driving. The Mach-E has also LED lights on the entry level and projector lights on the premium and GT models. In the select model as well as the premium, you get 19-inch alloy wheels with these aero covers, which I don't think look too bad, to be honest. With the premium and GT, well, you get red painted calipers with the premium one, and the GT gets Brembo brakes. Try saying that quickly. I'll talk about pricing in a second, but if you want black, it comes included in the base price. But you could have any other, well, 6 other options for $700, so that's pretty reasonable. When we're talking about trims, all right, we've got what I think is here, and I'll tell you why I think maybe why it is. This is the entry-level model, so this is called Select. You could go for the premium that adds a few more things, or the GT line. And yeah, we need to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is price. It's eye-watering, it really is. Based upon Victorian drive-away price, this model is $72,000 drive away. Opt for the premium, and that bumps up to a massive $87,000. Crikey! And then finally, for an eye-watering $107,000 drive away, you got the GT Performance one. So that's like 0 to 103.7 seconds. You get a few more options, sure, but mate, there's got to be a lot more car for a lot more coin. Coming in the back of the Mach-E, you got this stunning panoramic roof, which unfortunately can't be opened, nor are the built-in shades, but still, again, best seat in the house in these type of cars is always the back seat. All right, so back here, this seat is obviously kind of very similar to what my sitting position is right now, and I've got a heap of room. Foot room is okay, and under thigh support is also okay. We've got 2 out of the 4 USB sockets here, so there's a mixture of A and C, as well as some vents that we can adjust, but there's no heated seats back here. That's pretty much it. I guess, you know, let's go there because that's a lot more interesting. One thing the Mustang Mach-E gets right is storage space. So in the door bins, yeah, there's plenty good enough space there for bottles, maybe laying down though, like in the back. but at least there's some, you know, good spots most everywhere in this car, along with storage. And like under the armrest here, got a little cubby with a retractable thing so you get stuff hidden. You got a wireless charging pad here, along with one non-charging too, so that's brilliant. And underneath as well. So it ticks a lot of boxes. And yeah, we need to talk about this center screen because it's both awesome and brilliant and not. Entertainment wise, it's got Bluetooth, DAB radio, wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay, so huge tick for me, thank you very much. It's just sometimes a little bit laggy, and you'll see the performance hit you when you're going from one thing to another. So if I jump there, there'll be a little stutter, and you'll hear that with, say, your music, you'll get interrupted. It's just, I don't know, it needs more CPU power, and it's a little bit disappointing. But contrast that, oh my gosh, this is videos turning to contrast. That was a text message, by the way. The contrast here is that it's got a 10 speaker plus subwoofer, Bang & Olufsen audio system, and it sounds pretty damn good. A little bit central for my liking, even though I have surround mode on, to the center speaker here, but otherwise there's some speakers hidden under here and elsewhere, and it's actually very good. And one other thing I forgot to mention is that settings in this car, you know, like drive mode settings, they actually stick. It remembers what you last selected. So you know how Critique, Hyundai and Kia and other brands that every time you get in, you need to actually go one pedal driving, safety system on or off, whatever it might be. This one actually remembers. So thank you Ford. I really appreciate it, mate. And actually, again, contrast, I was actually supposed to get the premium model of this car, and I'm pretty certain this is a select one, because missing in this cabin, and it's not missing much, to be honest, to be fair, it's not missing much, but the ambient lighting's not here. The red brake calipers are also missing, plus the bigger battery. When I charged this to 95% this morning, it only had about 420 kilometers of range, which is a lot less than what the stated range is, but again, that's coming later in this review. For the driver, there's a 8-way power adjustable seat in this sort of leatherette material. It's pretty comfortable. I found a good driving position for me, but I think at this price point, we really do need tilt adjustment. So, you know, to get the under thigh support happening a bit better. That's probably what I would like to see in this car, right? But the other one is this driver display. It's great, it's good that it's right in front of you, but what is not good is the speeds over to the right-hand side. So when I'm holding the wheel in the, you know, what's that, the 10 and 2 position, or if the steering wheel is maybe, you know, where you can do the tilt and telescopic adjustment, if it's in the wrong position, it covers it up. It's actually quite hard to see. So I've had to compromise my steering position over my seat comfort position to be able to see that speedometer. I hope that makes sense to you, but essentially they should put the speed in the middle. Whoops, that was a horn. They should put the speed in the middle. That way you would never have this issue, I think. Maybe better yet. All right, I'm gonna say it needs a heads-up display. Yeah, just do that. Get rid of this, just put a heads-up display. Done. Let's talk about range and efficiency in the Mustang Mach-E. If you go for the select model, you're only going to be getting a claimed 470 kilometers of range. Go to the premium with the longer range battery, and that bumps up to 600 kilometers. And then go to the GT, where you've got the dual motors and obviously crazy fast performance. That gets shrunk right down, but that's for another video, which, by the way, if you want to see that, now's the time to subscribe, because I've got a lot of awesome content coming out and I don't want you to miss it, okay? It's absolutely free after all. Do it. This battery pack is 72 kilowatt hours, whereas the Premium and GT, they both share a 91 kilowatt hour nickel manganese cobalt battery. That means that everyday driving, this car would rather you go to 80 or 90% of the battery, like when you're filling it up. Not to 100%. That's for another video, but just know that. If you do a long road trip, mind you, definitely fill it to 100% so you can get the most amount of range out of this car. But realistically, are you ever gonna get the claimed range from your car? No, which is why, you see this thing? These are on all cars, right? And what's it saying? 178 watt hours per kilometer. Yeah. Realistically, I've been getting about 19 to 20 kilowatt hours per 100 Ks. That's a better way of measuring your efficiency of the car, by the way. So look, first up, when you get your car, can you please take this off the windscreen? That would be really appreciated. All right, so this car, when you're doing 19 or 20 kilowatt hours per 100K, that means from this battery pack, just with this very simple math down here, you're going to get about 370 kilometers through to about 430 kilometers, which for some people might sound disappointing, but honestly, do you ever drive more than 400 kilometers in one stretch without taking a break at least? Yeah, you can go to a fast charger, but that's a separate section of the story. But remember, claim range on those stickers is never realistic, is it? Cargo space in the Mustang Mach-E is pretty average for this size of vehicle. In fact, probably could be better. There is a kick opening here for the rear boot. You've also got a button, but nothing through the app. In fact, the app is very limited. You can unlock and lock the car, start your climate, understand maybe where your car is located, where nearby charging spots are, organize a service, and that's pretty much it. Definitely a work in progress. But anyway, coming back to this boot, 402 litres with the seats up. It's got a 60-40 split, so you put them down and that's going to increase to this number. Back here, we've got one of two 12-volt sockets, and under the floor, yeah, it's okay, but it's kind of missing on that, sub boot that you get in Teslas. And this is a bespoke electric platform, so it's actually purpose built. So it's kind of a missed opportunity. Like, why? Why is there not more down there? But thankfully, the frunk in the Mach-E is a stunning 134 litres, which is really comparable to a Tesla Model Y. And this one's unique in that it's actually got some drainage spots down here, so you can put some ice and drinks in there, just like you were in America doing a little bit of tailgating. You know, the thing where they would get in car parks and eat and drink together? It's a thing, get it, just stay with me. But nonetheless, getting into here is, I think, a mixed bag of awesome to like, why? I don't get it. I can do it through the key fob here. So just a quick little double press and I get into the front. I can also do it through the keypad. Nice. But weirdly, the lever for this bonnet is on the left-hand side in the front. So I guess it's a bit of legacy from the American build. The Mustang Mach-E comes included with a Type 2 charging cable, which is a little unusual, but I guess it's kind of nice that they included it. So more than likely near you, you've got one of these, what they call community chargers, and you plug one end in, one into the car, and you tend to get free electricity or free fuel. I mean, how awesome is that? But it's kind of a bit annoying that they didn't include an actual granny charger or a slow charger. So I guess we've all got one of these bins at home, right? One with all the cables in it. And for me, I just happen to have a slow charger. Most car brands in Australia actually include these, except for Tesla. So it's kind of weird at this price point it's not included, so that's disappointing. But nonetheless, any standard wall outlet in Australia, so I think there's millions of them, now becomes your fueling station. So you wake up every morning, you've got a full tank, right? This car's going to add about 10 to 15 Ks of range per hour with this sort of system. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, it's going to take forever to actually replenish that lost charge, Chris. But most Aussies only drive 40 or 50 Ks per day. So within 2 to 3 hours of you getting home, your car is completely full again. And that's all very brilliant. But yeah, let's say if you're a high miler, you might want to get one of these. You could in this car go up to 3-phase 11 kilowatts. That's going to give you about 130, 150 Ks of range per hour. So let's say you live far, far away from everything and every day you're doing 200-300 kilometers, you might want to stretch for that 3-phase power. But most Aussies do not need that. They don't even need this. They just need a standard slow charger. If you don't have access to power at, say, your apartment or home, charging can take place at one of these rapid fast chargers and will take between 20 and 45 minutes, which is rather slow for the premium price tag that you're paying for the car. And this is one of my big issues with the Mach-E, is that, yeah, at home charging is pretty good, stock standard if anything, but at only 150 kilowatts for DC fast charging rate, that's pretty average, and I would expect a heck of a lot better from a commanding price like it has. And a quick note for Ford, and that is your setting menu for charging stuff could definitely have a revamp. Before I can select what charge level I want to go to, I need to charge here first as a reference point, like a geographical reference point. Then, only then can I say go to 80, 90, 100%, whatever it will be. As an owner, this won't be an issue because you're going to do it once and set and forget. Select your temperature of the cabin, what time you want to depart, the usual sort of stuff, right? But you first need to charge in a place before you can enable that in the settings menu. And this little slider, well, it's not a slider, it's just a picture of a battery. And that line there is not something you can move. It's kind of like it cries out for it. It just needs that. The Mustang Mach-E has auto parking features, but seriously, the previous generation version. So if I'm in a car park like this and I press this button down here, it'd be like, okay, what do you want to do? And I do, well, I want you to do parking assistance, right? But what it's going to need is it's going to actually need two cars with a gap between them, or it's going to need a good parallel spot with definition of a car in front, your space, and the car behind. So it's a bit limited, and I found that if I don't preset the mode first, so it's saying, okay, I'm going to find you a parallel spot, you need to select it. If I want to do, like in this situation, the 90-degree versions, I need to select it. So now I've got the right one. Let's just drive, and it's scanning. And when it thinks it's got one, it should say, hey, here's one for you. All right, let's play. Oh, no, I've gone too far, so let's keep going. There we go, sweet. And so all we need to do now is put the select into neutral, take my foot off the brake and press and hold that parking thing. So now the car's going to do the accelerator, it's going to do the brake, it's going to do the steering, and I'm going to get a bit anxious because again, it's not my car. It's very slow. It's very slow. It's like, oh my gosh, we're so going to hit that car. I don't know how close that was, but it looked crazy close. This is akin to like an L-plate driver learning to park. And are you still watching? If you are, thank you. Now it's probably a good time to subscribe. Put a comment below as to, yeah, nah, thanks, but no thanks. Because yeah, it's just, I don't know, there's way better systems out there, and this is pretty average, to be honest. And it's still going backwards. It's gone past the line. Is it centered? Yeah, it's centered. Would I trust it? Yeah, kind of. Would I use it every day? No, I would not trust it. Driving dynamics of the Mustang Mach-E are a mixed bag to really good to excellent to like why, just why. Starting off with power, okay. In this model, we're kicking off 198 kilowatts of power. Jump to the premium and that goes to 216. Move over to the GT, oh wow. When it comes to newton meters of torque, both the entry level, the select, and the premium share the same, and that's coming in at 430 newton meters of torque. And go to the GT, and again, it's going to go crazy. So I'm honest to goodness looking forward to that. Wherever I point this car, it's going to go, and that's a genuinely good thing to say because this is a single motor variety, yeah. And the steering wheel feel is a bit artificially heavy for my liking, but some people like that, and I guess trying to move it away from the SUV that it is by having that sportier, heavy feel and wheel is okay. All right, interesting design choice. But a thing I kind of intimated at the start of the section is that it's ride and handling. It's too hard. It's honest to goodness. You get a lot of knocks and shudders through this car, and it's set up to be a sports Mustang. You know, the Mustang heritage is a performance setup, but some 7.3 seconds to 100k per hour time. So it's a pretty average SUV. We're sitting up high. There is nothing about this car that says performance, yet they've chosen to do the suspension to be too hard. It's doing my brain in. I'd love to see that. Look, if you're going to lean into this, and this is notes for Ford, okay? If you're watching, if just lean into the fact it's an SUV, yeah, and adopt the fact that, okay, this is going to be a family-friendly car. It's really comfortable, seats, 5 people quite well, but just when it comes to, our pretty average roads in Australia, it doesn't make for a pleasant experience. And when you can forgive it, and along smooth roads like this is fine. No worries. It's just when you get to those really bad roads, if I was on a, God forbid, a dirt road, I would not want to do it. But look, about to get into a bumpy section here, and yeah, it's just unforgiving. And why they went this way, I do not know. That's a Mustang, by the way. We just went past a Mustang. Fantastic. All right, so my next probably critique here is its noise levels. It's pretty average, and in this table, it's coming in the middle ground. In terms of visibility and noise, trying to put the two things together there because clever me. Visibility at the front is pretty good. To the side, great. Good sized mirrors. At the back, that portal view is a little limited, a little bit difficult to work with, but it's actually, you know what, there's a lot worse out there. So yeah, visibility is pretty good. But at the A pillar, I am getting some wind noise from there, and there's no laminate glass. I think given the fact that we're just running on 19-inch wheels here, they're not special in any way, shape or form. I just think there needs to be a lot done about handling noise in this car, because it is a pretty nice experience, again, on smooth roads. So the Mustang Mach-E, you've got a typical drive select down here, so you've got your reverse, you've got your neutral drive, and also this button, the L here, which supposedly is designed to actually do more regen if you don't choose one pedal driving. But the brake feel when you don't use one pedal driving is pretty mediocre, so let me just turn that off for a hot second. One pedal off, making sure I've got no one behind me, and here we go, everything's going to come to a stop. Yeah, I've got like this much play in the pedal, and it just is, it's on, it brakes, or it's off. It's just not very linear, it's not very smooth, it's kind of blocky. It reminds me of my Tesla. And that's not a good thing, folks. So, I wish the brakes were a bit more pleasant. But, hey, it's got one pedal driving, and you know what? It actually does that really, really well. So I just turn that back on, and again, making sure I've got no one around me. Taking my foot off the accelerator now, turns into a brake, and it comes to a complete stop quite nicely, beautifully, in fact, better than I can. And sure, you can still touch the brake and stop your car that way. So John, before you comment, don't comment. You can still use the brake if you want to use the brake. And if an emergency situation, you need to slam the brakes on, do it. Your pedal is not the only thing that's going to stop this car, okay? Yeah. Anyway, so, when you're at speed, so I'm doing 60 here in a 100k per hour zone, I can floor it and it's going to go. And that comes back to the newton meters of torque, and that's pretty damn nice, and it feels awesome. Just off the mark, 0 to 100 at 7.3 seconds, it feels slow because it is slow, and I don't understand. Is that probably related to actually the kilowatts of power that's coming out of this car? And it'd be lovely to see a bit more performance, especially when you're commanding the price they're asking. And there you have it, my review of the 2024 Ford Mach-E. And did you get what I was trying to say in this review? In that it's a bit of a conundrum of a car. There's got some really good stuff in there, and I get this appeal for people who want the badge, who want the support from Ford. But with that okay warranty, the mixed performance between it's got a good get up and go, but conversely the suspension is really hard. And then you've got the really fussy screen, which unfortunately is a bit laggy, and that doesn't make sense to me. But it's a good package, and it's a good introduction for people who might be going from something like this to something like this. I know there's probably collectors out there screaming and pulling their hair out right now saying, oh hell no, not over my dead body. But nonetheless, I think this is a good first step forward, and appreciating 60 years it's taken to get from here to here. And I think the next generation, there's a facelift coming next year. It's going to be interesting to see what they improve. And I like to see better fast charging, chassis control, suspension setup. It's got great performance, don't get me wrong. But the important thing though is its price. It's just too high. Ford, seriously, bring it down in price. You need to sharpen your pencil because it's not competitive. And if you're going to get people out of the petrol or diesel cars or out of a different electric car, this has got a little bit of work to do. But nonetheless, maybe the real car to buy here is going to be the GT version. And if you want to see that review, click somewhere around here, wherever it is on the screen, because that's coming your way in a few weeks. And I'm looking forward to having a lot of fun with that car. If you've enjoyed this video, you can do what you do. And by the way, George, you're watching. Haven't you subscribed yet? Why haven't you subscribed? You should subscribe. Please do so. It helps out the channel. It does. Super thanks is really appreciated. Kofi for behind the scenes and stuff like that. And otherwise, you be good and you be green.